Since I can no longer teach art here, a move seems inevitable. It's now essential to restore this vintage kitchen. Part of it was made in the 1920s, all of it actually, and it was redesigned in the 1950s, some parts. And so now I'm letting you know I'm ready for action. I've done part of it before. When I came, it looked like this. This was in progress. And then the breakfast nook is completed. Now it's time to do the rest of the kitchen. The cabinetry and breakfast nook say 1920s, but the glass brick and the scallops say 1950s. But there's some great, great parts to this kitchen, highly functional. It just needs to be redone, repainted, retiled, all those things. I cook once a week, and the reason for that is because I'm an artist and want to spend as much time as I can at the easel. I will do all my cooking during one day of the week. And so I've enjoyed this highly functional kitchen, even though it is vintage and needs to be reworked, restored rather. It has been a dream to work here, and I will never own something as cool as this kitchen again. It has been a delight. But like I said, to maximize my time at the easel, I cook the entire week's meals in one day. Then I head out to church. Now, a purist in a vintage house restoration project would say bring back the whole house back to the original, which would be the 1920s. However, in this case, it's impossible. From what I've researched, the original house was quite a bit smaller. So the house built in 1920-ish was much smaller than it is now. In 1950, a doctor added 2 rooms on the north end, enlarged a double fireplace, and added a carport on the south end, which later was converted to a garage. Taking it back to 1920 would mean removing quite a bit of the house, and that's not logical. So there are ways to aesthetically blend, I believe, these 2 eras. It takes a lot of thought and research, but I think in this case it can be done. Actually, they've done a great job so far, and I have tried to continue where design choices had to be made. If there was a choice to make it more 1920 or 1950, I took it back to 1920. For example, I was able to put in a very traditional fireplace mantle, actually 2 of them, and they were installed on 2 sides of a fireplace. One side was brick, one side was stone. And it really tied the look together. So I hope to do more of that in this restoration project. In the kitchen, the most obvious 1950 look is in the glass bricks above the sink. Now, I like the light it brings in to the counter there. I won't be removing them. It actually doesn't look weird. Some houses, when they've tried to remodel and were not sensitive to the eras, it is like, whoa, what happened here? But actually, it looks fine. And so I'm going to be keeping those. Also, there's a scalloped wooden valance over the window. Very, very 1940s, 50s, but it adds charm. I'm going to keep that. So a part of this journey that I've struggled with is giving up a house and a studio that I've worked so hard to restore and that has so many memories for me here. So much memories with family and with the students that have been in my studio. They were such a delight and I enjoyed it so much. But it will be a challenge to restore, but more needs to be done to finish. So in this, I'm adopting the mindset that I'm working for a future family, some family that will enjoy the uniqueness and the solid structure that this place has to offer. Multiple workmen have told me, whoa, this is a redwood house, super strongly built. So I hope that'll be a blessing to a family in the future. If I could pick it up and move it across the miles, I surely would. So I hope the future residents enjoy it as much as I have. So priorities are a part of this journey. Sometimes in life, the choices we have to make are not good versus bad, but they're good versus best. And ultimately, what is best, it's what God has made us to do, to follow His lead in the way He has wired us and the gifts He has given us, developing those gifts. So if I believe that making art and teaching others are part of my purpose, maybe even part of my calling, then giving up something as this house, for which I have a fond affection, means I can hopefully transition to a place where I can live out my priorities on an increased scale. And as always, I keep in mind the tasks, in which this case, making art the tasks of making art is not as significant as the human element, meaning it's much more about the people that I will meet, serve, care for, and minister to along the way. And I have a great memories and appreciation for the people that have been in my life to this part on the journey. And so the rainy season has begun here where I live in the Pacific Northwest. And actually that's a good thing for my timing this year, because I need to be doing a lot of restoration work in this kitchen, and I look forward to it. And even more so, I start to think of the future. And that gets me excited about what is coming up next. Something that has captivated my thoughts as I have researched different geographic areas that might be a good place to move to have a studio and gallery is a place called Apple Hill. I've recently discovered that. And as I watched videos and talked to people who live near there, I got really excited because I realized that the things that I do in art, I love doing still lifes. I love doing the whole farm vibe. I like growing fruits and vegetables. I like painting them. I like the whole interplay of light and color and everything about it. It's just something I really enjoy. I've always enjoyed making still lifes, and I thought they would fit really well in this community that has a lot of tourists, a lot of people coming and going in the season, the fall, and even into the winter season. So just the thought of that is exciting. It's not set in concrete for sure. I've been researching different areas of the country, but that is what has captured my imagination so far. And I have enjoyed growing a lot of apples myself, and in fact today I need to go pick the apples on the Pink Lady apple tree in the back. So a verse that encourages me as I consider the future is from Philippians 3. It says, "But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and reaching forward to what is ahead, I pursue as my goal the prize promised by God's heavenly call in Christ Jesus." Thank you for listening.